Greetings. I just realized it has been a really long time since I have posted anything on the Wildwood Tarot, and I did have quite a few people that were really interested in the deck and taking the journey with me through the tarot, and promised that I would take you along with me, and I kind of let the ball drop, and I want to apologize. I haven't given up on it at all. I've been using the deck a little more. I thought I would come back and talk a little bit more about it, and I thought since it's been so long, I'm going to go back to the very basics and do today just go back to the 3 cards, pulling the 3 cards from the deck. Now, I want to say something. I want to try to be very careful how I say it. I've been watching a lot of tarot videos, a lot of tarot channels here on YouTube, and I see a lot of, there's a lot of flip throughs, etc., which I really love. That's how I really like watching them. That's how I found my new Santa Muerte deck that I showed you yesterday. And I hear a lot of people using decks like kind of spreads, some of these new decks for spreads, and using Rider-Waite meanings for the cards because they're not familiar with the cards. They're new cards, they just got new cards, so they pull up a card, whatever it is. Let's say it's the Wheel of Fortune, so they talk to you about the Wheel of Fortune in the Rider-Waite. And I'm not going to criticize that because I've been doing a little bit of the same thing. I just want to emphasize, though, that I am bringing up the Rider-Waite meanings because I'm looking for differences. I'm looking for what are the variances in the cards what is the variance between the Rider-Waite deck and the Wildwood Tarot? Because if there's not a difference, there's no reason to have 2 decks. In my opinion, we could just use the same deck. I think the artists who do all the artwork on these decks put an awful lot of work into trying to depict the emotion of the card that the author was trying to was asking them to portray. I think that's the truth. I think when we went into the Wildwood deck, the authors were really trying to be genuine in their exercise of looking at how the tarot relates to our ancient memories and the lessons that were learned in our memories, in our primitive memories almost, so to speak, rather than just the lessons brought to you by the Rider-Waite. It's not a criticism. I just want to say that this is the focus of my journey. I'm trying to, even though I might mention the Rider-Waite, I am saying it because I want to look at what the differences might be. And this is an important point that you understand. This is where I'm coming from, because when I get into the Santa Muerte deck, I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing. I did the same thing when I did the Cat Eye Tarot. I looked and saw what was the perspective of the card. It was a little different. It had to be a little different kind of a perspective for it to even be necessary to have 2 decks, in my opinion, or 3 decks or 4 decks. So I just want to say that's where I'm coming from. So when I pull up a card and say, how is this relating? I'm looking for the differences. Okay, please understand that. Kind of important to me. I like to be understood. Anyway, I went back and I pulled 3 cards. Now, I hadn't done this for a while, and usually when I was pulling the cards from the Wildwood, I was trying to say, I'm just trying to be random and pull 3 random cards and really not do any kind of a reading, although I've also admitted in the past that it's really difficult. You can't just do a reading and not, pull cards and them not be authentic. I mean, you can try to be random and pull cards out of a tarot deck, but the tarot deck usually has different ideas. And usually you're going to find those cards are much more, hold much more significance than you thought they were going to hold. And that's kind of what happened to me in the past. So today I was clear and I said, okay, I'm asking the deck as I was shuffling the deck. I laid out 3 cards. What does the deck want me to know today? What are the energies right now going on in my life that I need to address? Okay, so this is a true reading. It's a true reading. I'm not sure how much of a reading I'm going to make, but again, I'm going to do like I did in the past. I'm going to talk about the cards here on YouTube. I'm going to mull it over a little bit, and I'm going to write a little bit of a blurb. And I'm going to put that up on my Bird in the Crown website. So if you're interested in following to see my final thoughts on this spread, it's a very short, I just put a very short read up there. I don't want to get big, intense, a lot of words. I don't want to put a lot of words in. I'm just trying to look at the relationship again between the 3 cards, because I think it's also very important, and I have said this in the past, but if you're new to my channel, I want you to know this about me. When I talk about tarot reading, tarot cards, you're never going to hear me just read 1 card. This is why I kind of dislike the exercises or the reads that some people do, where they shuffle, and they say, okay, now I want to know, should I look for a new job? And the cards say X. Should I break up with my boyfriend? And the cards say this. I don't like these one answer questions. Even though you can get quite an elaborate, you can get a lot of information from 1 card. But to be honest, there are so many meanings associated with this card. How do I know which meaning is appropriate to my life right now, is relevant to my life right now, until I see the cards in relationship to other cards? Okay, so that's why I pull a minimum of 3 cards, and that's what I'm doing here today. And I'm going to look at each card individually. I don't have past, present, future, or cause, effect, or whatever. I just have 3 cards. How are they relating together? That's all I'm doing, very simply. The most simplest of 3 card spreads. But it is 3 cards together telling me something. Okay, we were clear. Don't want to go on, beat that horse. Okay, so the first card that I pulled, you might guess, since I keep flashing the Magician, was the Shaman. And I hope, my husband set up another light, so hopefully you can see the details a little better. I realize that they're not wonderful, and this is the other reason that I do post my final thoughts on this layout. I will post on Bird in the Crown on my website. I also will probably post a link to it from my Facebook, and because I am new to it and trying to learn it, I will probably also try to post something about it from Instagram. So you will see me in those places. You will be able to see the details a little better of the cards if you cannot see me holding them up. Okay, but anyway, we're looking at the Shaman. And the Shaman, yes, of course, relates to the Magician in the Rider-Waite deck. And the Magician is a good card in the Rider-Waite. He's somebody who appears when we have some kind of energy or creative power to create something new going to happen in your life. It's going to take you forward, okay? And it's reminding you that you have the tools available, all the tools available, right? This is what we talk about with the Rider-Waite, with the Magician. He's got all of the tools ready. So it's really like unlimited, talks about unlimited potential, right? And just go ahead and follow your dream, follow your dream. Well, the Shaman has the same tools. He has tools available to him too. And pardon me because I keep looking down because I do have some notes. I wanna make sure that I remember to say things that I wanted to point out about the card. Um, but the tools available to the shaman are a little different, because the tools available to the shaman are things that he actually has acquired from his connection to the Wildwood through the, his primal existence with his life on the earth. His being related to his tools are made of earth, made of elements of earth. They're very organic. He has a rattle from a skull and a stone knife, and of course fire, and of course the water. And he implies his magic with intent too. It is magic that he has. It's a knowledge, a magic of knowledge, understanding. He knows the plants that will heal him. He knows the cycles of the year. He understands the seasons. He understands weather patterns. He understands the habits of the creatures of the forest. Okay. He has a lot of insight and understanding. And this requires a lot of study and a lot of knowledge. Okay. So, a difference, if we're going to apply any kind of difference between the magician and the shaman, is there any difference of focus? We might say that the magician is an encouragement based on what you have. You have these elements, you have the power, you have the tools at your hand to use. Remind you to use the tools you have. The shaman is more about what you know. Applying what you know, applying your instinct, applying your experiences, the knowledge that you have gathered through your relationship to this life on earth. Okay, your memory. If there is a caution with the magician card, it usually has to do with guarding against trickery, right? Be careful that you're not being tricked. The shaman is more of being able to, not being tricked by false magic, but being able to identify the real magic that is there. Okay, to know what is real, to know what is not. It's maybe kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit different, because where this is a caution to be careful, if you want to guard against trickery, there's a caution. This is more know your ability. Know your ability. You know what's real and what's not. You're not going to be tricked. You're not going to be tricked. If you have done your homework, if you're studied, if you have your knowledge, okay? So, kind of an interesting card to show up right now, because I don't know, I'm a great believer in there being no coincidence. If you go back to my first or second video, I don't know which one, or third maybe, video, I talked about, is there such a thing as coincidence? And I was just thinking, I've been thinking lately, these kind of things have been on my mind. So is this a coincidence that this card is pulled today? It's been on my mind. How many people are really out of touch with their environment, today? People, I started thinking about it in relationship to people being so freaked out. Californians, I don't like to dig Californians, but they're wimps with weather. We have such beautiful weather most of the time. I'm talking about Southern California here, and this little piece of heaven, I call it, where the average, I don't know what the statistics are here for Orange County, but I know the statistics for San Diego. The average daily temperature is 75 degrees, like throughout the year. That's the take. What can suck about that? We have most of the time beautiful, beautiful weather. We have a couple weeks of really cold weather, and it's cold for us. It's not cold by other people's standards, but it's cold for us. In the winter, we call it a couple weeks. It might last a little longer than that, but it's interspersed with beautiful warm days. There's cold temperatures, but beautiful warm days. There might be cold nights, but beautiful warm days. Couple cold days, but some more warm days interspersed. It doesn't last very long. Same with the heat. We just had a heat wave, a big heat wave, and our humidity was up. So we were a little uncomfortable. We were kind of uncomfortable, but I'm telling you, today it's beautiful. I don't know what the temperature is today, but it's just a nice summer day in July, not overly hot. And in this evening, it's going to get nice and cool. We're going to be able to sleep really well without being hot. We're really spoiled. But so many people so many people in today's world are so involved, they're perfect climate. They have to have, they have air conditioners and heaters. It's always a perfect climate. We control it with our thermostats, right? And everybody, even in California, where we hardly need it, they need it, in the inland, but here where I'm living, we don't really need to have air conditioning. And I hear people all the time complaining, and some people that even live closer to the coast than I do, complaining about the heat. Well, it's because they're so used to living with air conditioner that they don't know how to self-regulate their heat. They don't know how to cool themselves off or, warm themselves up if they're cold. They depend on a thermostat. That's being out of touch. That's what I mean by being out of touch. And I've been noticing so many people out of touch lately. It's kind of been bothering me. So it's kind of interesting that this card, the shaman, shows up in my spread today. I'm curious to see where we're going to go with that. Okay. Now the second card, don't want to spend too long on this. Here I go, talking too much like always. But the second card is the Ace of Vessels, which is called the Waters of Life. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. There's a lot of cards like this in this deck where a lot of water falls and the power of water. Okay. And of course this does relate to, I will just put it down a moment to show you, the Ace of Cups and the Rider-Waite, which is also called the house. Some people call it the House of the True Heart, because this is there's a hand offering some kind of fulfillment, emotional or spiritual fulfillment, and the question is asked, will you take it? Are you ready to take it? It's the beginning of some new emotional possibility. Maybe love, maybe friendship, maybe something, okay. And some kind of a new connection. Not too much difference between that and the Ace of Vessels, the Water of Life. Here we see the water pouring out of the cauldron into the body of water below, and where I guess it's a deer and the swan and the crescent-shaped boat are all being supported by the water. Significance, I'm sure, of something. I'll have to think a little bit about what that significance is. But we talk about the swan. We've talked about the swan before, and how the swan has great ability to, always has the ability to take care of itself. It can be both a warm, loving creature, loyal to its mate, a good protector of its children, but also a fierce, very nurturing, but also fierce protector if necessary. We've seen the swan in the past swimming on to new waters after some kind of a loss. That's how loss is depicted in this deck. The three of, what is that? I'm trying to think what the card is that it represents in this deck. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, we see them here. And the Ace of Vessels talking about the possibility, maybe there's a possibility of new friendship, or also cementing old ones on a new emotional level, finding new ground for old relationships. I found that really interesting. And instead of something being offered, it is the question here and raised by this card is, what am I going to do to add to the waters of life for myself and those around me? That's a little bit of a different twist. What can I do? This is something being offered to me, yes. And it's not just about taking, it's about giving too, giving and taking. This is really about not receiving until you add. You add. You see, they are receiving down here, they're drinking from the water because of the water being added. It's something being added so you can receive. I found this really interesting. I spoke yesterday of again, good timing maybe, coincidence, I'm not sure. Yesterday I spoke of my sadness a little bit about friendships, not having maybe good friends. And is this card reminding me maybe to give new ground to some of these old relationships that have perhaps disappointed me. Maybe it's or looking at relationships today that are, maybe I'm not putting enough emphasis or stock in them. Maybe they are mean more to me, or I mean more to people than I think I do, I think is what maybe it might be saying. So, curious that was here. Thirdly, we have the Page of Bows. This is the cutest card. It's the stoat. And I just realized that the stoat is an animal that I'm familiar with because of the SCA, because in the winter coat, the stoat's coat is ermine. It's called an ermine coat, and we have that in our heraldry in the SCA. The spotted white with the spots spotted on it. But the stoat is a animal who is really excited about beginning an adventure. He's like something that is exciting to him. He's going to find something that excites him. He's curious. He jumps up fearlessly up to have his adventure. The posturing that this stoat has here, perched on this stone, is curve of his tail, like he's curious, and his one paw raised, ready to maybe jump or whatever he's going to do. Speaks of having some kind of fearlessness, just getting on with it and doing it, and that's what the card is speaking here. The Page of Bows, which of course is the correlation. The correlating card is the Page of Wands and the Rider-Waite, where it is the beginning of some kind of potential, some new opportunity coming up. The Page of Wands sometimes for me addresses a feeling of restlessness, like wanting, sometimes looking. You see, the page is sometimes looking for something. He's not sure what it is he's looking for. It's an immature desire, just something to get me going here. And sometimes it's a desire, in my opinion, in my read, sometimes it's a desire for the wrong reasons. Maybe it's not just it's something that I would be really good at, but something that could get me a lot of attention. Okay, I sometimes read this card this way. When I'm reading here in the Page of Bows, the stoat, I'm calling it the stout. Instead of the impulsiveness, I'm looking for fearlessness. The stout, again, knows his abilities. He's confident. He has confidence. So if he wants to do something, he's going to do it. He has a desire. He has, where this person might have a desire for attention, to get attention. In this deck, the desire might be to add something. What can I do to help? What can I do of value? What can I do? And this is kind of where I am in my life right now. I find this really curious because I am in the middle of trying to do something that matters. I'm an older woman. So when I'm not looking for relationships. I'm not looking for, like new romance or a career or those kind of things. What kind of things am I looking for? What did I do that mattered? At this point in my life, I get to that point that I say, what did I do that really mattered? I still have a lot of energy. I still have a lot of drive, a lot of desire, a lot of passion. But I want it to be something that's going to matter. I want to be something that will fill me up. It'll fill up, it'll fill me up, but I can give back at the same time. And I'm kind of doing that. I'm kind of doing that with this women's group. You know, I think that's what we're about. I'm talking about this women's group, you know, the circle that I was involved in. I don't know if I talked about on this channel or not. I can't even remember. But it was talked about, Jackie, the Moon Mother, talked about, she took some film of it on her channel of our experience with this women's circle that was so cool. It was very cool. And sharing this bond with these other women might be something that's going to help fill me up, where I was kind of empty when I was talking about yesterday, being kind of empty. This might be my opportunity, one of my opportunities. I want to talk a few minutes more. I'm not gonna talk anymore really about these cards too much, because I'm going to give it a little bit of thought, and I'm going to write it up in my, like I said, in my blog, like I do. As you can see, I think they really come together. I think they come together kind of in an interesting way, which I love when that happens. But I want to tell you something. I just want to take 1 minute and tell you something else that I thought was kind of cool. Because let me take a drink of my tea first. I'm sorry. Because I'm new to Instagram, I have to confess, new to Instagram, and I thought I have to try to figure out how to post things on Instagram. And I know in order to post things on Instagram, you have to have a picture. So I thought I could share my picture, whatever I'm going to be posting, perhaps using for this blog post, I can share that on Instagram. So I was looking and I'm thinking, Instagram is really, my blog is really about what I say, about the reading, about the cards. But Instagram, you got to get somebody's attention with the picture. And let's be honest, you have to get somebody's attention. So I'm looking, how do I make this little picture here I have of these 3 cards look like something that somebody might want to stop and read what you say, or follow the link and go, to see what you say. I mean, let's be honest, it's social media. That's what social media is for. Okay, so I'm sitting here with my cards, and I just started grabbing things without thinking to, just what it looked like. And I made this little arrangement, whatever you want to call it, for my picture. And then I took the picture, and you'll see the picture if you follow this through and go look and see what I had to say about it. I'll be using the same picture. But anyway, after I took the picture, I was curious to see what I had grabbed for in the picture. And it's so funny because I just grabbed things randomly from my table. I have a dish of stones here, and it's a dish. I'll show you this because it's very cool. It's a dish that I keep on my table, which is really the Green Man. I don't think you can see it because it's too dark, but it's really a beautiful dish. Has the lid is the Green Man, and I keep jewelry in there all the time and things like that. And so I had that. I had my stones and some other things just sitting around, and I grabbed some beads with an ankh because I thought it was really cool for life. But I had on my cards, I grabbed a smoky quartz crystal, which is so funny because I'm starting to all of a sudden to just be grabbing smoky quartz all the time, which I've had this smoky quartz. I don't know how many years I've had this particular crystal that I've just kept it in a basket on my shelf for the longest time. But something has spoken to me recently that I've been picking out the smoky quartz and using it. Well, here I looked up again something about the smoky quartz, and it said smoky quartz is linked with the healing vibrations of the earth. Okay? It's the tough love of Mother Nature which made it strong. And its exposure to radiation made it one of the most powerful stones for clearing and purifying the environment from electromagnetic stress, for one thing. It is a very powerful cleansing crystal and detoxifying crystal. It is called, and I know this because I gave I made a bracelet for a friend using this quartz, using this stone, because it's called the spiritual band-aid to any painful emotional wound, to any painful emotional wound. It's a stepping stone to vibrating your full potential because it releases negative emotions like fear or jealousy or anger, and it's a good grounding stone because it's known for its ability to help you move on from painful memories of the past. So it kind of reads, doesn't it, to these cards that I was talking about. If I'm talking about the painful experiences I've had in the past of trying to make friends or trying to matter or whatever, you know, I don't know where I'm coming with this reading, but it seems to relate to the cards. It magnifies the energies of the stones. I also have 3 rose quartz crystals, which I have all the time here. But the other thing that I have, which of course we know about rose quartz, because the thing about rose quartz, which I didn't really know, I do know that it's a good stone to facilitate love entering your life, because it brings your consciousness to a higher level, right? It's associated, though I did not realize, with the element of, guess what? Water. Because, and its healing properties are naturally fluid. The give and the take, right? The offering and the accepting. The negativity which you've been holding on to will flow out as pure thoughts of unequivocal love flow in, right? It's healing. It's healing. It's nurturing. It's healing. Healing. Being healed. With the magic that is found around us. In the earth. Of the earth. Stones from the earth. Okay. The rose quartz property of restoring trust is one of its most powerful and important uses. I've been afraid of making attachments to people, right? Because of my negative experiences in the past. Right? So it's a way of renewing the ability. The heart can't move on from hurt unless you understand that and you accept your past and you move on from the past. And this is a good way of moving on. And the last thing that I want to say, the last thing that I grabbed, I don't know if you remember, but I just went to a show, a crystal, or a gem show, gem show. And I went, and one of the things I bought, and I'll pick this up and show you, was this little bumblebee jasper, which I knew it was going to be there. Somebody's recommended it to us, that we look, and I went and looked, and I picked it up, and it just made me so happy I wanted to buy it. And it is the actual stone of happiness, it's called. And it helps you to find joy and goodness in what surrounds you. In what surrounds you. It brings you joy and abundance. It gives you confidence and self-esteem and helps you leave toxic situations to help to balance and improve your life. It helps you believe all things are possible and limitations are only self-imposed. Have the confidence, have the fearlessness to do what you want to do. Isn't that cute how all these things just kind of, this is my favorite thing that happens. All of these things it just works together. At least this is what I see. I see the same thing, and nothing is coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. These cards, the power of the cards know the power of the cards. Drew these stones. I drew these stones over here to me. The magic around me, is everywhere. Thank you for watching. I will post, I will write up a little blurb, and I will post the link to it. I'll post the link on Facebook, or you can just check Bird in the Crown in a few days. If you're interested to see what I had to say about this little reading. I will come back and do some more into the Wildwood, as promised. Maybe I'll go back to the reading the layout that we used the last time, I'm not sure. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you are still, I'd like to know in the comments if you're still working on your own Wildwood. So thank you for watching. As always, I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.